Heads or tails? Heads. One heads. Heads or tails? Tails. 1 to 1. Heads or tails? Tails. 2 tails to 1 heads. Heads or tails? Tails. 3 tails. Heads or tails? Tails. If you can't tell, get it? We're flipping for Mr. Fisher's third flip. And today, I just wanted to remind you that this lesson will be due on Friday. And remember to use the website so you can actually do some extra practice and some math songs. I'll put some new math songs on Thursday, so you can practice those Thursday and Friday. Make sure you're reading every day. Starting this Friday, I'm going to actually count up how many minutes you've read for the week, and we'll put that on the website. If you haven't already done so, go to the website and sign up. It's Road to Success, and they give away bikes and iPods. And Mrs. Brower is actually going to do some fun activities that will involve our school, so be ready for those fun activities. And remember, our spelling test will also be on Friday, but see if you can't find some games that actually use some multiplication. This one right here is called Times Attack, and if you can find that online, you can actually get a free copy. Some things you can do, and make sure you study your spelling. So, had to get my use out of this slide. And here's today's agenda. We're going to look at the objective because it's looking at real life activities. We're going to do some warm-up problems and some quick practice. I'm going to show you how to use iTools and hopefully how you can get online to find some of the fun activities to use with this iTools instrument. Our main focus though is on the hobby activity. We want to know what photography is and how that is a hobby, and we want to draw some pictographs. We'll show you what a pictograph is, and then we'll finish off with some math problems, and I'll leave some challenges for you to do if you'd like. So that's our agenda for today. Let's get started with the objective. The objective is really to focus on mathematic practices, but with a variety of real-world problem-solving situations. You'll see that math happens everywhere, and you really need to talk to your parents and see how many times during the day they actually use some math in their. Well, let's get warmed up with an anytime problem. If you read right here, it says the first 2 digits of a 3-digit number is the product of 7 and 9. The first and last digits of the 3-digit number are the same. And so we are actually looking at a 3-digit number. 1, 2, and 3 digits. Let's get started with understanding what it's asking. First of all, the first 2 digits of a 3-digit number. Okay, so we have 3 digits right here. 1, 2, and 3. Well, the first 2 digits, 1 and 2, are the product of 7 and 9. So let's look at what 7 times 9 equals. If we look at 7 times 9, we get, what's the answer? 63. So let's put 63 in. 6 and 3. And the first and the last digits of the 3-digit numbers are the same. What's the first digit? A 6. So 636 is our answer. And let's check to make sure we have it. The 3-digit number is 636. Let's see if you can do some quick practices. First of all, let's start out with, well, let's look right here, multiplying with 5s. You get out your chart and actually start practicing your 5s. You say the answer in unison with whoever's practicing with you. 1 times 5 equals 5. 2 times 5 equals 10. You can even put it to a sound or a song. I've actually not been able to find any songs to go with the 1 times tables. So you might as well practice them though. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Get the idea? And also practice your mixed ups. 5 times 1 equals 5. And your mixed up divisions. Even though it's by ones, you got to realize that dividing is simple. 10 divided by 1 is the answer right there, 10. Ones are easy. There's our fours. Practice your mixed ups, mixed up divisions. But let's practice our threes today. Let's do Hal Palmer. And you can sing along with me.
Three times one is 3. 3
Times 2 is 6.
3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 4 is 12. Doodle doodle doo. Doodle doodle. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 9 is 27.
3
Times 10 is 30.
3 times 11 is 33. And 3 times 12 is 36.
Anyway, you get the idea. Keep that multiplication table next to you so you can practice, especially the harder ones. Well, here is iTools, and I wanted to introduce you to iTools. And I'm actually in the counters. I can actually go to the menu and find where I want to be, but we want to be in counters, and we want to do some multiplying. And let's use some rain clouds. It's supposed to rain this week. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to put those 4 rain clouds into 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make it 4 rain clouds by 4 groups. And to check my answer, I'm going to type in 15, right? Yep, 16. Check my answer. Terrific. Way to go. So this iTools is a great instrument to be using, and the problem with trying to use it with a class is I only have one smartboard and 26 of you want to play the same game. So here's my solution. Go to Math Practice on our homepage, and if you look, I've got Mega Math on there and iTools, both in English and Spanish. And if you click on the English iTools, it should take you directly to iTools right here. And notice you can actually go to counters, math mountains, base 10 blocks. You can even do some algebra if you want. And some secret code cards, place value drawings, geometry. These are all things that you can actually click on once you get to the website and practice counting, or you can go to a different activity and divide. Try those out, and remember, it's just right here on Math Practice on the website, iTools, English and Spanish. And now let's get into our lesson. What is a hobby, first of all? I was actually talking to a third grader the other day, and they didn't know what a hobby was. So I've got some hobbies hidden underneath this box right here, but what I want you to do is start thinking and asking your parents what hobbies are. And We're going to use photography as our example today. And as we talk about hobbies, it's stuff that you like to do. Well, what is photography? Photography is a hobby that includes taking pictures with a camera. And, well, you guys are begging and begging to be able to borrow the camera. We'll have that camera sign up right by the lunch menu tomorrow morning. So, here we go. Let's start out with Owen. Owen displayed all his pictures. And notice how he displayed them. He displayed them in an, what do we call this? We've got rows and columns. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns, and 6 columns. Times how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, that's an array. We could actually find out how many pictures there are by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we're actually going to be using Owen's pictures in class to see if you guys can figure out that math problem. So we're going to pause right here, and you can actually do the math problem, so when you get to class, you can show everybody you know this problem. See all those pictures? We're going to try and arrange them in different ways. But here's the activity that we want you to concentrate on with your homework. Jot down people in your family. Right here, you see this? You can actually do this in your notebook. Go find some people in your household, or even better, people that stop by at your house. You can actually ask them what their hobbies are. Or you can actually go to your neighbor's house and get as many people as you'd like and find out what their hobbies are. And what you want to do is make this chart because it helps us put them all together. You'll find that some people, like your dad and your grandpa, both like to do photography. Well, I can say that because my grandpa was actually a professional photographer. His hobby was photography, but he also made it his job. You need to be ready to do the same thing with the kids in our class. So practice by going around, finding out what other people have as a hobby, and then we're going to do this. In class, you'll be able to do this with some other people in our class. We're going to try and find out how many like to do dancing, how many like to do photography, how many like to do games. I'm sure there's not too many people that like to do games on their iPods or on their Xbox or Wii. But there's probably a lot of you that like to read. So let's show you how to make a graph. And not only do we want to make a graph, we want to make a pictograph. So here's our activity. We have, when we go through with the students, we can find out that the favorite hobby is dance. And we know that there are several people that like to dance or tumble, and we can say Kennedy and Annie and Anaya and Kalia all like to do dance. And so we would actually make a chart. And I'm going to make this chart a little bit fun because we want each of these smile faces to stand for 2 third graders. And so if I had 4 people that like to do dance, I can actually go down here and if I put 2 smiley faces, and each of those smile faces equals 2 third graders, and I put 2, how many is that? Those 2 smile faces equal 4 students, because 2 times 2 smiley faces equals 4. Well, what would happen then if I have 5 people that like to read? And I tally those marks up, and guess what? how many would that be? 1, 2. I can put 1, 2. That, you guys know that equals 4. But how am I going to put an extra person on there? Well, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to split him in half. And so I'm actually going to take a picture of a half of a smile face. And that equals 1 extra person. So we have 2, 4, plus 1 extra. 5 people actually like to read. And so that's how you're going to do your pictograph. Pictographs are just representations of what the real number would be. And so when you do your tally marks in class, you'll be able to make your pictograph right after. Okay, let's move on to some exercises. We need to make sure you understand some of the math before you take the test next week. And critical on this was a note that I found from my notes from last year. I found this note that I wrote. Clarification. We do need to know what arrays are and how we can make equal groups. From there, we need to understand whether we are working on a multiplication problem or a division problem. When you go to do problem solving, check, is it going to be an array? This is set up in an array. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. If you measure, I've already made this into a 5-block row. So that's actually 5 times how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is an array. That's 5 times 4. But maybe you go to the store and you want to make groups. And so what you do to make a group, we'll put this to the side. That's an array. To make an equal group, maybe you go to the store and you get 3 bags. 1, 2, 3. 3 bags. And in each of those bags you have 5 candies. So there's 5 candies. There's 5 candies. Plus another sack with 5 candies and another sack with 5 candies. So if you notice, this is an array down here, 5 times 4, and this is equal groups. We have 3 equal groups, so this would actually be 3 times 5. So those are how we do arrays, and this up here are how we do equal groups. Hopefully that will help you with your work. Let's do a couple problems together. Number 1, math problem. Karina asks some third graders, what is your hobby? And she got these numbers answers. 4 people like to dance, 12 people like to do photography, 8 people like to do games, and 6 people like to do reading. How many third graders answered Karina's question? If you remember, this is a sum plus some more problem. I'm going to let you pause and see if you can find the answer. Next problem. This one I want you to really think about. Is the statement true or false? Explain. If you multiply an even number and an odd number, the product is always an odd number. So if you take an even number like 2 times 3, is it going to be odd or even? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Those are even numbers. Okay, this will be a great discussion item. Those were our problems for today, but I've got a couple challenges for you, and I'd like you to try them. These are some activities. So I'm going to show you this activity card, and I'm going to let you pause the video so you can shuffle the strategy cards, see how to do this. This was actually something you can do with some counters. See if you can actually do some of the multiplication problems on the kitchen table. Next activity. Pause so you can see this one. This one you can do by yourself. Copy the problems below and then answer them as quickly as you can. Let's try this last one. Square numbers. This one you can also do by yourself. A square number is the product of a counting number and itself. For instance, 3 times 3 equals 9. So 9 is a square number. See if you can find some other square numbers. And try to go up to 10 times 10. What's 10 times 10? Those are 3 challenges. Hopefully you can try each of them. Down here is a cool game that you can practice. Make sure you get permission to download it. But this is what it looks like. You have, let's try our 3s. Push go. You have to make sure you're typing 3, and then you have to make sure you push next. 3 times 2 is 4. Oh, notice I got that one wrong. 3 times 3 is, I'm going to do this with my fingers, 9. I got that one correct. If you'd like to try that, you can actually download that off my website and you can practice your 1s through 12s. That's all for now. Good night.